Hi, and welcome to the weekly predictions based on astrology for the week of January 18, 2021. In terms of the stock market direction, my predictions are that for the most part of the week, the market will go up, and then at the end of the week, probably on Friday, possibly as early as Thursday, most likely on Friday, the market will go down on the profit taking. So again, Monday is actually a holiday, so the markets will be closed in the US. Then Tuesday through Thursday, I believe market will go up, and sometime on Friday, although it could happen on Thursday, I suppose, but on Friday, I think market will go down on the profit taking. Also, in terms of the just general mood, I guess, for the week, it will likely be even more volatile than the previous week in terms of possibly large swings in the markets, especially in the cryptocurrencies or in the stock market as well. And this will basically be a week where we may expect various unpredictable, kind of a surprising developments, ranging from maybe exciting discoveries or developments in the IT, telecoms, and aerospace industries, for example. On the other hand, we may also expect increased probability of surprising kind of extreme weather events, especially those that involve perhaps high winds or thunderstorms or excessive precipitation. So basically a lot of wind and a lot of water, be it frozen, or liquid, that is snow or rains. And also there is increased probability this week of various either accidents or industrial disasters. And in the past, when I looked at previous situations with similar transits, we had basically things that involved perhaps either a boat was had too many passengers on it and would capsize, or strong winds make again a boat capsize, or if there is a like an aircraft or something that's flying, and again the windy weather or excessive precipitation may result in, say, an airplane crash. And this was an influence that pretty much had started already in early January and will be with us through early February, I would say through February 7th perhaps. And unfortunately, we already had, since on the 9th of January, an airplane crash in Indonesia, where indeed there were, I guess, excessive rains, and the plane ended up crashing, I guess, into water. So unfortunately, this week, a similar type of influence will be even stronger than early in the month. Perhaps this could be the strongest influence of the entire month. And also other kind of situations we've had before that may arise, especially towards the end of this week, especially I would say on the 24th of January, if I have to pick out one day where situations that, again, involved either, or that affected rather large numbers of people, involved large numbers of people, or were meaningful to large numbers of people. They may not necessarily have been affected, but maybe a lot of people will recognize some event in the news. So something like, the sinking of Titanic, for example, or there was a situation where the cave, I guess, that was filled with brine in Louisiana got accidentally punctured, and so that resulted in a sinkhole forming. So something of that nature, and again, probability or possibility rather of such an event is strong through early February, but especially this week, the 24th of January would be the strongest, I guess, time, or the time where such a event may occur is the most likely. And next week, I'd say, again, to pick one day for next week would be the 28th of January. Again, that's a day where maybe these transits become kind of stronger. Let's see. So in terms of other events this week that we may expect, other than these, disasters, but also perhaps innovations or some discoveries, especially again related to aerospace, computers, any sort of high-tech processing, kind of data processing, etc. There may also be unexpected developments or just things that happen really quickly and also maybe go away, really quickly. Is any sort of developments that involve laws, legal decisions, judges, lawyers, etc., as well as foreign relations and any sort of associated entities, so like ambassadors, diplomats, long distance transportation, such as, import-export or travel internationally, and any sort of immigration-related decisions. And so there may be some either unexpected disagreements about certain developments, or things may be occurring, again, unexpectedly, but things basically evolve really fast. If a decision is taken, then from that decision to it becoming, say, a law, there's very little time in between. Or vice versa, if there was a negotiation that was about perhaps to be, agreement was about to be reached, there may be a sudden abrupt cancellation, and situation may kind of be turned on its head. So a lot of these ups and downs, and again, but the next day things again may get back to the previous discussions. So there may be a lot of these kind of surprising up and down activities, and there's also increased probability of various disruptions in services, maybe, like I said, weather-related power outages or problems with, some network outages, some social media platforms experiencing service outages, things of that nature. And of course, disruptions in international travel, or especially anything that's related to travel either by water or by air. Let's see, and there may also be increased, like I said, there may also be swings, not only volatility in terms of, like I said, stock market, especially cryptocurrencies and weather, but there may just also be extreme situations related to, say, either like athletic achievements, for example, or anything like, say, a lottery reaches some really large jackpots. So things that are tend to be maybe normally you would expect to be somewhat more stable, suddenly in those areas we may see more volatility, and things that are normally already maybe tend to be more volatile and unpredictable, there we really can see some extremes. Again, this could be a record reached by, say, an athlete, or the weather really becomes extreme somewhere, or again, this could be a discovery where some, space object flies further than expected, or something is, again, discovered perhaps by accident, or surprisingly, far or surprisingly close, something along those lines. And let's see, so that's a global kind of prediction. For China, the time period from 15th to the 27th of January, especially the 21st, appears to be a positive time in terms of, like, there might be positive news about leadership, such as a new prominent leader may be in the news. Also, there may be improved situation related to various, like, alliances or international partnerships, and there may be increased focus on kind of new goals, new vision, or new projects related to, again, high tech, telecommunications, IT, aerospace, electric cars, power generations, electricity, batteries, and things of that nature. There we may hear again about something positive like expansion, maybe some new partnerships are entered into, or the international influence. There may be some positive developments that allow China to expand its international influence, and again, through like some diplomatic means or negotiations or sales or deals, etc. And such negotiations or such deals and contracts may proceed kind of smoother and more easily at this time than usual. For Tuesday, there appears to be some important transits to the US chart for the 19th. There may be some minor stressful or negative news, such as concerns about reduced profits or some minor disagreements about some legal issues, and or some either concerns or minor, disruptive news about things like, again, legal decisions, laws, judges, or foreign relations, higher education, and long distance travel and shipments. So again, maybe some discussions that involve, say, import-export or immigration or long distance transportation. may kind of result in some minor disagreements, or there may be concerns about something being passed, some law being passed that may affect that. So some minor setbacks in either international contracts, or there may be some concerns. Say maybe there's a pending negotiation, but there may be concerns about value of something. Either it's, you know, some sort of value, whether something is the right thing to do, or whether or not this is the right price, basically, or if the costs, you know, profits can be justified, or the profits rather are, you know, sufficient. Again, there may be also concerns about whether or not something is going to be approved legally or something like that. So just minor kind of I wouldn't say a setback, but minor, I guess, concerns. And that's for Tuesday for the US specifically. And of course, on the 20th, there is inauguration, presidential inauguration in the US. So it is an important day in that sense. However, at the same time, globally, there will be an exact conjunction of Mars and Mars and Uranus in Taurus, which will both be squaring also fairly precisely Jupiter in Aquarius. And we also have Saturn nearby with Jupiter, and Moon will be approaching this conjunction of Mars and Uranus. So basically, it's a fairly precise and strong, I guess, transit, which is typically a transit that one would associate, again, with surprises. Could be surprising developments, surprising discoveries, or surprising even legal decisions, or things that just go kind of, do not rather go the usual path. And of course, this inauguration is going to be virtual, which Uranus, of course, specifically rules things like internet, high tech, etc. So that obviously is not surprising in of itself. So in that sense, it's a good positive manifestation, because you want more Uranian things being kind of manifested in the controlled way, such that, you know, this way you don't have unexpected troublesome surprises at the same time. However, at the same time, again, globally, this transit does, and again, this will be strong the entire week, but especially on the 20th. But generally speaking, under such transits, we may expect things to break down, such as maybe a part, some sort of machinery overheats, and or something is pushed too far. Again, Jupiter rules things, you know, just kind of that are grand and larger than life. So things that kind of are, go beyond their, say, limits. And again, something that there's like unexpected spark, and something the fire starts. And again, like there's a breaking point, and again, this could be a machine part breaks, and unfortunately, again, there could be like an accident of some sort. And in terms of the stock market, since we have this conjunction of Mars and Uranus in Taurus, which rules money, finance, also construction, like growing plants, anything that typically proceeds at this slow and steady pace and is supposed to be quite, stable, etc. Those things, unfortunately, can experience kind of more volatility than usual. So again, cryptocurrencies, any kind of financial stocks, or even any financial, say, policies, etc. There may be some surprises along those lines, and increased volatility, as well as increased either surprises from discoveries and innovations to sudden changes in, say, some laws that affect certain businesses, and that would cover areas related to Uranus. So again, IT, electric, cars, power generation, aerospace, any sort of telecommunications, any sort of electronic gadgets, etc. And Uranus, again, with Jupiter also being in Aquarius, that is ruled by Uranus, we have this extra sort of Uranian energy. So on the one hand, we may hear more sort of news that have to do with, like, say, freedoms or equality, or basically things that are meant to basically ensure equal and, just treatment for everybody. At the same time, Uranus can also take things a little bit too far, and things may, the news that we may hear in the day may become outright like weird, or we may see a lot of eccentric individuals, maybe news about like, space, aliens, and just like things like of that nature. So there may be some unexpected, surprising news. And again, that's not just for the US, that's globally. And for the US, the significant part would be that because the inauguration date is sort of like the birth date, I guess, for the new presidency for the next 4 years. So I would say pay attention to any sort of events, news that may come up, or any theme, I don't know, of the day, because that would be the theme, just like anyone's, personal sort of date of birth is, their theme, so to speak, for their entire life. This is the theme for the next 4 years for the presidency. So anything that is significant, any sort of, say, decisions or news that come out may be indicative of, I guess, the theme sort of for the next 4 years, and that's specific to US. But globally, this is an important day where we may either hear again about some innovations or some news again about, say, some freedom or rights or equality, or discoveries, again, some space-related news, to unfortunately some accidents or industrial disaster type situations where something unexpectedly breaks down, be it due to weather or due to some part overheating or being reaching its limits somehow. Let's see, and for finance, cryptocurrencies, stocks related to electric cars, airlines, etc., there may also be surprises for those domains. Then Thursday, Friday, January 21, 22, that's where we may start seeing a reversal. I'm thinking more so on Friday, but it could start as early as Thursday, where market will reach this high, and there may be really large stock market moves. After that, basically a large drop where we will see some profit taking. At the same time, again, there may be increased news Thursday, Friday about things like immigration, long distance transportation, diplomats, professors, judges, lawyers, and there may also be some news about like heated disagreements about some legal issues, or even perhaps attacks, either verbal or physical, on people who are sort of represented by Jupiter. So again, people who are well educated, either international sort of leaders of some sort, such as who happen to be located in a different country, meaning like they're, say, a diplomat or something like that. For China, 21st and 22nd of January, may see some increased news about like things like goals and the vision for the country, and specifically again related to IT, telecommunications, aerospace, anything that's high tech, like high-speed railways, electric vehicles, high tech, gadgets, online commerce, anything kind of internet related, digital, as well as healthcare and any sort of industries that somehow are service industries that again support these kind of these high-tech areas. So maybe industries or companies that provide support and maintenance for, say, airports or airplane, and repairs for the airplanes, or maintenance of power plants, maintenance for electric cars, ensuring safety and security of electric vehicles. So that's kind of me see increased news for China, 21st and 22nd, and there may be again some announcements of new goals or visions that involve initiating some rapid improvement of those areas. And finally, like I said, Friday, especially by the afternoon on Friday, I think there'll be major profit-taking activity, and it will be probably a really large move. Then let's see, as I mentioned, the 24th, which happens to be Sunday, globally just seems to be an important day in terms of probability of, say, just disasters like earthquakes, mudslides, capsizing of some ship that's, or ferry, I don't know, that's overloaded. Or, I just don't want to voice kind of negative predictions, but just like a day where I would say stay maybe kind of more safe, and ideally, whoever's in charge to not like overload things that should really just be within certain capacity. And there's probability of just increased kind of winds or just extreme weather that may result in, again, just power outages or some service outages because of some imbalance, like, again, too much energy is being drawn by, I don't know, some areas, and so there is sort of a power outage. There may also be increased news on Sunday, the 24th, about things like oil, gas, chemicals, pharmaceuticals, drugs, poisons, navy, excessive precipitation, pollution, and places of worship, movies, music, and beverages. So all of those are Neptunian domains. So on the 24th, sort of Neptunian topics may be extra kind of prominent in the news. And combined with this probability of various like accidents, disasters, etc., it could be something like, maybe there's an earthquake specifically with tsunami, or the turbulent, winds or whatever weather specifically affect like a ship or something that's, something that's being transported over water, and other things that may be, again, related to, again, oil, chemicals, like a oil leak, for example, that's polluting water or something along those lines. But definitely an important day, even though it's Sunday. And just to give kind of a general background, I already mentioned, so generally speaking, this whole month into, I would say, 7th of February, we'll see this kind of a increased sort of stress and surprising activities and maybe increased volatility in the markets. At the same time, this month, I would say through this 22nd of January, but then picking up again mid-March to mid-February through early March, then June, especially late June to early July, then mid to end of December of this year, and then finally September, like mid-September to end of October 2022, we will have this increased influence of Saturn, Uranus square, which will be basically with us this year, next year. But again, currently we're experiencing kind of a tighter square this week, and that would be would manifest basically with some potentially suppression, in the stock market. Right now, obviously, the market is going up, but in the future, especially, for example, in the upcoming month, end of June to early July, maybe a time of a little bit kind of increased difficulties. But other things that may correspond with that is various kind of ideological disagreements about the ideas represented by these two planets. So Uranus being kind of more of a equality, like I said, freedoms for all, just treatments, revolutionary kind of like rapid changes, and Saturn being, the planet that wants things to kind of remain, keep the status quo, develop slowly, conservatively, make sure that everything is like triple, quadruple checked before it's implemented, etc. So there might be these, different movements that kind of will be at odds because the planets are in a square, which is a tense aspect. And at some of these times, such as this month, but also again at the end of June through early July, for example, we will have Mars kind of participating and enhancing this square, and Mars brings, kind of trouble usually, but because it's kind of like this, god of war, it kind of wants things to happen quickly, but also this necessarily is not conducive to things getting resolved in a peaceful manner. So that's why I'm saying there's a greater probability this week, and also at the end of June through early July, for example, of, again, accidents, fires, explosions, and just tensions in general. Let's see. Anything else worth mentioning as far as the background influence? I guess generally January of this year for the US, there may be increased focus on communication and transportation businesses, as well as education and international partnerships. There may also be increased focus on sort of financial manipulations, or some companies having problems with, like, say, taxes, or some announcements related or affecting things like insurance, loans, rates, as well as any sort of spying and hacking, any kind of manipulative, underhanded activities. The news about those may come out rather, and undermine some partnerships and collaboration, be it within companies that are within the US, as well as US international collaboration as well. And for China, December through the December of last year through the end of January of 2021 is a time where we can expect a lot of developments and announcements about new kind of expansive projects that again relate to IT, aerospace, high tech, AI, networks, power plants, as well as healthcare and veterinary care, where there may be some innovations, plans to expand those areas quite a bit, and maybe even announcements of some large scale sort of constructions or changes in how things are being, I guess, governed, as well as changes in how sort of the country's status in various international organizations such as OPEC or any other kind of participation or its role in such organizations. And through the end of February of this year, there may be increased focus on oil, as well as other Neptunian areas such as, again, gas, chemicals, as well as pharmaceuticals. This week it will be especially felt on the 24th, but really, generally speaking, the background influence for these areas, some changes or some news about those areas will remain strong through the end of February. And then we will have increased activity again and news about, say, oil, the value of oil, gas, or any even associated, say, news about leaks or pollution, again related to gas, oil, etc., will pick up again in April, especially 8th through the 11th, and then in September, especially 1st through the 3rd of September. And at those times, those news may be somewhat stressful and potentially be associated with drops in the stock market. So that's it. Let's keep it hopefully shorter this week than other times, so I don't keep rambling on and on. So in short and summary, it's a little bit of a stressful week with increased probability of accidents. So I would stay definitely safe and pay attention as you're driving, etc. And don't, I guess, engage in any sort of risky activities. And hopefully there will be interesting and exciting discoveries, especially related to like space or high tech. So I'm looking forward to those. And I hope you guys are having a fantastic week, and come back and check me out next week. Until then, bye.